Hello, everyone, and welcome to round 27 of the 2022 Scrabble Players Championships. I am Morris Greenberg, and I'm here with Chloe. How are you doing, Chloe?
I'm doing well. Yeah, excited to watch this game with Joey and Ori. Saw them play yesterday afternoon, and in that game, Ori won. So I'm interested to see how this one will go at such a pivotal moment in this tournament.
Yeah, and it looks like Ori is now drawing his tiles to go first. They have played, I think, twice this tournament already, and we saw Ori beat Joey on stream in one of those uh, as he played re-raise to go out yesterday, which was a really exciting finish. We'll see if it can be similarly exciting and have similar fireworks now.
Yeah, Ori
So
draws a pretty good rack at first, but I am not seeing a bingo unless I'm missing something. Yeah, no bingo. So I think doing something fishing would probably make the most sense. DOL, DOLO, those are all really good leaves. I wonder if there's even a one tile fish that he could, exchange one tile that would hit a lot of the leathers from the bag. I would be thinking about that here.
yeah, I don't think it quite does it here, just because normally you need an E in those situations to really get a one tile right fish. If you already have an E, you can
Yeah,
sometimes get racks where
I
most of the
mean,
tiles in the bag hit. But yeah,
exchanging D looks pretty good. It hits the E, I, A, I think, probably some consonants. I'm not sure if it's quite, usually you want it to be at least, 50% of the time that you're drawing a tile it hits. I'm not sure if it's quite that, but
yeah.
seems
Well,
close here.
you did mention the three most common tiles, but I like the route Ori's going, keeping
Yeah.
ARST and playing Dole. Uh, it's yeah, it keeps good stuff. Doesn't give your opponent too much back, so seems reasonable.
Yeah, totally. ARST is a great leave. Um, yeah, no complaints.
And Joey did play Janny pretty quickly, going back to his fast playing ways. I think we figured out the cheat code for playing Joey. It's just play faster than him, and that's how you can get him under a minute, as Joe did last game.
Yeah, and Ori will bingo this turn. He has Intrados and Diatrons through the end of Janny, as well as through the or both ends of Janny, really.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so 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 yeah, I wonder what he'll choose here.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's going to play one of the introdos just because Diatrons does put the D in the triple
Right.
lane. Um, but yeah, between them, I think uh, I think you're going to want to do the introdos to make Dolt. And if we could quickly
Right,
flip the
yeah.
Quackle, we can show why. So introdos here, if you notice, doesn't leave any crazy hot spots open right away. Whereas introdos one spot over, oh wait, look at that A right there. Z can go there, all sorts of tiles can go there. So let's see or replace the introdos the commentary team approves of right now.
Yes, and it looks like he's doing just that. So, yeah, I agree with Morris there. When you're playing a bingo, you want to restrict your opponent's options going forward because you're taking a lead and you don't want them to be able to score as well. So I think Ori does a really good job of that here.
Yeah, so that gives him a 76 to 28 point lead right away. Um, this will be Joey. I think 2 games in a row has picked up QU at the same time, which is fortunate. When you draw the Q, you always want a U, and most of the time you don't want to hold the U by itself. So why not just pick up both? It's very it's a Matt Canic
Yeah.
strategy. Just draw the right tiles.
Yep. Yeah, I liked Bisque immediately through the S of Intrados. The Q, people really newer Scrabble players think the Q is really good, and it does work well with the U. But I think the X is just a really powerful tile to hold on to often. So Bisque scores well, keeps LX. But yeah, QU is also really good. So I wonder if there's any possibilities for either of those tiles going forward, the Q or the X. That's what I would be thinking about here.
Yeah, so Joey elected to play off the Q. I think naturally Scrabble players tend to, even if you have the U, not want to keep the Q for too long. It scarred us all, and I think we don't want that energy on our rack too often. So Ori though, so his post bingo draw, it's not too far away from bingoing letters, although it does have the cursed ing. It is a trap, but maybe Ori can uh, use that trap to his advantage. I kind of like bio through the B and bisque, keeping pretty strong bingo letters. You're not scoring a lot with this with these letters right now, and Joey played off a lot of hefty tiles. Uh, you don't need to open up anything crazy here, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think keeping the EGIMN leave is really powerful. You can score well with the M. It keeps that nice, though sometimes deceiving ing leave. So it leaves your options wide open for either bingoing or scoring, which is, it's always what you want to do.
Yeah, so it looks like he has Moi set up right now, or Moi, I should say. Uh, and I'm wondering if he's considering playing that above the U and Bisque. That would be a pretty risky spot if he does do that, just because Moi does take a back L to make Moil, and that would be on the triple lane. So uh, it'd be an interesting choice. And I would suspect he goes to bio eventually if he is thinking about Maw right now, just because Ori is the type of player to really not give you anything easy.
Yeah, I agree there. I think, especially at this lead, you don't want to give a spot for, a triple to score really well. Um, and bio, he only scores, what is it, seven less, or maybe, no, five. Yeah, five less. So I think that's a worthy sacrifice to keep the board a little more controlled.
Yeah. Oh, so he's going long. He's playing Mendigo. So he is avoiding the
Okay.
trap um, of the ing. I think I have noticed Ori can play like six tiles at a time more often, I think, than some higher rated players. And I think it's a really solid idea here. I think he thinks he has a slight lead. He doesn't want to get too cute and try to fish when Joey is playing hefty tiles right now. And this does score the most of his options and really, can progress the game, especially with two blanks out.
And Joey, with seven consonants now, has a pretty unflexible rack and not many options. Yeah, I think. What would you think about doing here, Morris?
Uh, Pix, PYX, or maybe Exchange. But
Yeah.
Pix, especially because there you have an S and a T, so Pix will set up exist if you draw the other Y at some point. So I feel like that's natural. Maybe BRR is another thing you can consider, but it looks like Joey's just going to
Mhm.
exchange right away. I think that's a very reasonable idea as well.
Yeah, I would think about exchanging here as well. It just really sucks to leave five consonants on your rack, especially that would be LRSTT, I think, which yeah, just it's not like if you draw one more consonant or even worse, two more, you're just going to be stuck again, not scoring a ton of points. And yeah, it's just a bad cycle, especially when you're down.
But Joey will almost definitely bingo here unless Ori has some crazy blocking play because Roseate should play as a 7 to make either DE to the D in Dolt, M or me to the M in Mendigo, or B to the B in Bisque. So I expect Joey to have benefit greatly from drawing four vowels after exchanging here, but it will be interesting to see how Ori thinks about this because now Ori's up 32 points. Joey just exchanged. You have to think Joey's keeping some good, right? Three good tiles at a minimum. So you probably want to keep scoring well, but not open up anything crazy bingo lane wise. Yeah, what would you look to do here?
Right, yeah. I might do something like, uh, yeah, I don't know. I'm seeing a few options. You could play like hedgy to the Y of Janny. You could play aged or AHED underneath Janny to score a bit better. Um, what else do you think, Morris?
So I'm just doing this because I have the Quackle file loaded. The real star play is Hedgery or Hegery through the R in Introdos, making a ton of
Oh wow.
underlaps for 31 points. That would be a really
Yeah.
cool thing if that's found, but again, it's really hard to find some of those uh, underlap insertion kind of plays. So I think more naturally, I would probably play Aged here. And yeah,
Yeah.
the Y and Janny, I think I don't like the G. I know you don't like the G. HIT can score well. It can bingo. It's a hit. You know.
Yeah, Hagari is that would be a really nice find. But yeah, I think like you said about the G, it scores well and it keeps good scoring prospects for the next turn. So it seems like a pretty reasonable move.
Yeah, I'm actually do EGAD actually instead of aged, just to
Yeah,
not
just
stick out an E. But or is doing a similar idea. He's playing DAG underneath those tiles. It's interesting. DAG over Hag is a much more defensive move, just because Hag does take a front S hook of Shag. We actually saw that earlier today as an option that someone was trying to do. So I like this idea a lot. It keeps a flexible leave, and Joey wastes no time and plays Rosiate right away.
yeah. So we have a game now. Pretty much tied up. Probably Joey a bit ahead. Um, yeah,
But
and
look what Ori
Ori
drew.
drawing very well, drawing both blanks, and I would be surprised if there's not a triple triple here.
Yeah,
I
so
see
we'll
othering. Um,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
so he's gonna he has plenty of options. That is a killer draw.
yeah. Joey's not going to be happy. I mean, theorize. Is that what he's going to play now? Yeah, or maybe theories. One of the two.
Yeah.
So, so I'm assuming he's going to make that a blank Z for style points, not a blank S for theorize.
Yeah. It also slightly limits the options of 8 letter words that could start with that Z or that tile he puts there because the S starts a lot more words than the Z. So there's also some defensive merit to it. But yeah, if we could
Yeah.
get that confirmed, do we know?
Yeah, so I'm just going to assume the Z here. When you have an opportunity to make a blank Z, you take it. Plus, I feel like we naturally play Z words anyways when we have the chance because normally it scores. So maybe it's like a Pavlovian thing. So it was confirmed by our commentary team that the blank was a Z as Joey plays Envy pretty quickly.
39.
Pretty good play. And it's probably the only play he has that really keeps the game within reach.
Yeah. I bet if I were Joey, I would not be happy after that. Envy sets up, the Y isn't the worst tile to end a word, so he could potentially hit a bingo on that row, ending in Y for a bingo. You've got to keep your options open when your opponent triple triples and you go down. All of a sudden, you're down more than 100, and it's this pretty terrible feeling.
Yeah, so I think if Ori wins this game, we know the secret to beating Joey now because Joe beat Joey last game with a 4-eye rack, and now Ori has a 4-eye rack. So he has Inti set up. It might go underneath the QUE. Oh, no, okay. He's playing in
Yeah, I
Bit
would.
spot.
Yeah, I would play it under Rosiate. It blocks the S and the E of Rosiate for bingos and doesn't open up a lane underneath that would whereas Inti under Bisque would open up QIS plays.
Well, I think he's considering again because you notice TI, Tiz, and Tix are both words. So, and with both the Z and X out, I think he's weighing which is likelier for Joey to have. Is it likelier he has an S bingo, making QIS? Let's flip the Quackle very quickly just to show the difference between these. So we have Inti here is the higher scoring one for 23 points. Problem is QIS can come down, get a nice bingo on the triple. You don't want to see that if you're Ori. Other option, though, of Inti here, well, Tiz and Za isn't fun. Tix and eight isn't right, and X isn't fun. Lots of things that aren't fun about either one of these. So he has a big
Yeah, and
decision on his
chat. Oh,
hands.
yeah, and
Yeah,
chat
let's
has
flip
pointed out
back.
that Joey will have if Ori decides to play Inti under Bisque, Joey will have Fletcher available through the E of Roseate. So that would be a big swing of things in this game. Joey needs a bingo right now to come back, and yeah, that's the only thing he has, only bingo he has available. So that would be huge.
So yeah, this is going to be interesting. He's now holding some tiles and considering something, and he's going to make a play of Iwis. Oh no, okay. Nisi. Okay, got it, got it. So it's interesting, man.
Yeah, that's definitely a very defensive option. Now that mostly just allows bingos ending in a vowel, which are already playable to that T of theorize usually. So I think Ori was just trying to, block as many of those 8 lanes as possible and not give back any high scoring options for Joey.
Yeah, wow, what a prescient move by Ori. I mean, he analyzed the costs and benefits of a few better plays in terms of equity. Obviously, you want to score 18 or 23 points rather than 8 points. But I think he correctly deduced that, hey, it's 10 or 15 fewer points than those other things. But my opponent will often score more than 10 or 15 more points if I don't play Nisi here. So, really, really cool idea. And this is why I think it's really hard to play Ori if you're offensively minded, just because he will interfere with your plans so many times.
Yeah, and that's got to just be so frustrating for Joey. And I wonder what some good options for him are. He has a bunch of consonants and nothing too, um, conducive to scoring. So I think he'll try to, what is he doing there? Biscuit and
I
etch.
think
Is that
that's
a word? That is
that's
not a
gonna be
word. Yeah.
challenged, Joey.
Huh. Yeah. Did not think that was good. So that is going to come off the board. Ori has challenged the play. And yeah, Joey will lose his turn, and Ori will probably, after his next turn, be able to take an 100-point lead again. So that I wonder, was Joey just hoping for the best and thinking he needed to score more than any of his options to come back in this game, or was he mixing it up with Bosquet, possibly?
Yeah, I don't know. This would be the kind of thing we'd love to hear after the game, for instance. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a tough
Yeah, I know.
position to be in now.
Yeah, I know Joey is someone who's pretty solid on his word knowledge, so that's a surprising phony if it wasn't intentional.
Yeah, we saw him play a phony and it got challenged off earlier in the tournament, but that seemed just like a dictionary confusion error where the word used to be in the dictionary and was expurgated recently. So that one I understood completely. This one, yeah, it's interesting. There could be confusion. I mean, by game 27 of a Nationals, your brain can kind of be like mush, especially if you had the pressure of playing at board one being annotated or live streamed so many times. So Ori is making a really nice defensive play, kind of taking out that whole right side of the board with Wived and scoring 24. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and in terms of Joey coming back into this game, bingos, not that they're the most likely, but bingos to the Y in Envy would probably be the highest scoring. So I think preventing those off chance, like monster bingos, is a way that Ori is sort of continuing to cement his lead while still scoring a bunch of points.
Yeah, so, but this is now, I think Ori has a very commanding position here. He'll have to address that bottom part of the board Joey just opened with Chef. You'd have to think. What would you do
Yeah,
here?
I would. Yeah, I mean, seeing that sort of play, I might assume my opponent has an S. I mean, or the F, which he did not keep, a second F, or yeah, to make IFF or IFS. Um, there's not a ton of those left in the bag, two S's and one F, but I still would probably try the block. Those are going to be the highest scoring bingos that could possibly play. So something like AT, which Ori plays. Yeah, I think that's what I would do here.
Yeah, I think that's the right idea for sure. You don't want to take any chances when you're up by this much. Good rule in Scrabble: if there is one way you can lose, don't do that thing. If there is one way you can win, do that thing.
Yep.
So, but Ori does have a lot of R's now, so he won't be able to score most likely a ton next turn. While Joey has redrawn the X at this point, and again, very key that that Ori didn't play that inty spot where he was initially laying it down before. Um, yeah, I guess maybe you play XI and X off of Bisque or something for 27 here. It's a tough position for Joey at this point.
Yeah, that really doesn't look that appealing to me. I mean, keeping five consonants, I think, yeah, what he does here is lax, saving the better GINRT. Um, yeah, it's not nice to sacrifice some points to make that sort of play, but I think at his deficit, Joey knows he needs at least a bingo to come back into this game, probably a bingo and, some really good scoring plays. So I think going all in on bingoing makes sense, even though there's only really a couple spots to do that on this board.
And I'm loving this play by Ori. He's now making it so the only letter that can end for 7-letter words is an E. So he plays roar. I might have actually gone a step further and just played AR there to not allow for ED bingos. But it's a really,
Right.
really cool idea. Really,
Yeah, it
really.
also
Yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah, it sets up an S hook for earns. So I mean it is like, if you think Joey doesn't have an S, it is very immediately defensive. But I wonder if that's actually more defensive than just leaving that spot alone.
Oh, that's a fair point. Yeah. Luckily, though, for Ori, Joey doesn't have an S.
Yeah, so Joey has rutting, nowhere to play it.
Yeah, this turn, I think, will tell a lot about Joey's state of mind at this point. You have to be frustrated after losing the last game with getting double blanked and now getting tripled on with both blanks. And so, how do you make a play that really opens things up so that you can potentially be going? I really
Yeah.
like this idea that he's doing here of Rugal.
Yeah, I like that as well. The obvious responses to that play, at least in a normal situation, would be a play to the triple and making a two-letter word ending in R. But those plays will give back lots of eights or bingo lanes for an eight. So I think Ori will probably do something more defensive here, especially seeing how he's played thus far. Um, yeah, I
Yeah,
wonder
it'll
what
be
he'll do.
interesting. I mean, like Fava, it just scores so many
Yeah.
points. I think it's just justified to do that. He's up by
Yeah, I
over
think you're right.
130. Like, why not just play Fava? I mean, if
Yeah.
he gets like frenzied or something, okay, that happens once in a million. And
Yeah, he
actually,
did
there,
have frugal. So, playing that or some word making frugal probably would have been a bit more defensive and still score pretty well.
oh, that's a good point. I completely missed Frugal. Yeah, good, really good find. But yeah,
Yeah.
Frenzied, I think, is really the only thing after Fafa that would immediately make it a game again. Uh, and actually, I don't know if there are any D's left even, so uh, that doesn't even, I guess Frenzies. So that would be the only thing he'd have to worry about. But Joey is close to some things. He does have some nice tiles for scoring. So when you're down 130, you're going to need at least one bingo to win. Often it's two bingos, but sometimes just bingos and a lot of scoring. And I think Joey says, I'm just going to do a lot of scoring right now, like Hidden.
Yeah, I wonder why he chose that instead of ticket. Just The C is obviously, I think the C is a pretty good tile for bingoing. I think it starts maybe the second most bingos, but I don't know if that makes it that much worth it over keeping the N instead.
Yeah, on these sorts of racks, I always look for an R on the board so I can play Morris. That is my approved play. But Ori luckily plays better than me and doesn't just want to play my own name. So maybe he's going to consider something like Meow through the A in Fafa, Miaou. That would clean out a lot of his tiles and block up a lot of the remaining space on the board.
Yeah, I mean, Meow would pretty much exhaust almost all of the possible bingos, or like the space on the board. There could be some nines through AR or some crazy parallel next to Kitten, but yeah, I think Meow really does the job nicely. Um, yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to take a bit of time here. He is getting low-ish on the clock. I mean, as many players are when they play Joey, but definitely enough time to make a good decision here. And with 14 tiles left in the bag, that's definitely a comfortable enough time position for Ori.
Yeah, I think he's just taking his time to make sure that, um, you know, what the score is, just count how many tiles are in the bag. Is there enough time for Joey to possibly play two bingos, or is there even enough space for him to play two bingos on this board? And I think the answer to that is probably no, though there's always a chance. But I think Ori playing Rosarium is blocking a few things. He blocks, well, I guess, possible parallels next to Kitten, and he scores well, and gets rid of enough tiles so that two bingos is pretty unlikely to happen here.
Not just pretty unlikely, impossible. So there were exactly 7 tiles in the
Yeah.
bag before. When I said 14 tiles, it was 14 unseen to Ori, so 7 on
Oh,
Joey's rack.
oh, okay,
Plus,
my bad.
so I'm sorry
Oh,
for
yeah.
messing up there.
Oh, no,
But
no, no.
yeah, and I think that's the key. Ori, this is a low variant. This is the highest winning percentage play, if I had to guess. Meow might save a few spread points by blocking bingos a few more times out of like every 1,000 games you play, but Rosarium just speeds up to the end game, and you don't want to have this game linger for Joey to potentially catch up. So Joey quickly plays Zep to empty the bag, and the nice Polies is Ori's last set of letters, and he's going to probably just try to find a nice out in two sequence to lock up this game and live to play another game of Scrabble.
Huh. And Ori puts down sleepful. Do not believe that is a word.
Yeah, I wonder how much spread matters here, because if spread matters, this would be a costly mistake. Keep in mind the
Yeah, and it looks
Swive
like
took.
he's.
Oh, I
Oh,
was just going
sorry,
to
go
say,
ahead.
keep in mind the Swive took is available still. So Pulse,
Oh,
for instance,
he,
could
yeah.
be there. So I think he's wisely deciding. You know what? I might just play Pulse or something
Yeah.
for a lot of points.
Yeah, and he's not giving Joey any information that Joey didn't already know. He's sort of just agonizing internally about, am I gonna sacrifice a lot of spread if this is a word and I don't play it, or am I sacrificing a lot of spread if I play this? And Joey challenges, because since it would be a bingo out, Joey would have essentially a free challenge there, and that would come off the board, and Joey would make up some spread points there.
So this game is looking like it's going to be a win for Ori Swift, even if he does play a phony. And yeah, it looks like Ori is correctly going to play Pulse or Pulse. It looks like Pulse he's going to do for 39 points. It's just so many points.
Yeah, that's a really nice play. Really good find. Even if Sleepful was good in some world, this still makes up a lot of that spread and doesn't risk it being challenged off.
And so Caw is going to come down pretty quickly by Joey. I think it's just the highest scoring play. Not much to think about there. And we'll see how Ori responds with his last 2 tiles. So I missed where he went. Do you see where he went, Chloe?
Let's see. He hasn't gone yet, I think.
Oh, okay, got
well,
it.
I think
I
Joey
just saw it
just
laid out the tiles.
Joey was just ready to get this over with.
Fletcher? Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think this is a bit disrespectful on your opponent's time to already start chatting and laying it out. He should let Ori finish first, but I understand Joey wanting it to be over.
Yeah. Losing 2 in a row when you feel like you're almost guaranteed a spot in the final has got to be. And, he still very well could make it. It's just, you'd like to lock that up as early on as possible. And Joey's leaving it till the last round, I guess.
Yeah, and to be clear, I don't, as the chat's asking, I don't think Joey's intending to be disrespectful here. It's just when someone is on their own clock, it's generally expected you do minimal to interfere when they're still deciding on a play. And I mean, I think he knows that Ori should find a pretty good play pretty quickly. But still, it's and he finds Lev, which I think is a really nice idea here. But yeah, it's just it's not typically the best etiquette to start talking and discussing before the game finishes. But yeah, these players are both from Texas. They know each other well. I think they're friendly enough that it's not seen as hostile. It's probably seen as friendly.
Yeah. I'm sure Joey did not mean it in a disrespectful way, and Ori is probably used to his antics. So the game does finish up. Ori at 440, Joey at 317. So it'll be an exciting last round. I wonder if we have any other results in.
Yeah, let's maybe flip to the standings page. It looks like they're not doing any post-morteming, so there's no content we're going to be missing here.
Joey did play pretty fast, so yeah, I'm not seeing any.
So I don't think any of the keyboards here are updated. And really, it's just so how the pairings worked here is only the top 2 games will matter. Because Joey won last round, it makes it a tighter race for both spots, but someone like Lisa can't sneak in because Joe is now ahead of her too. So whereas if Joey won last round, it was Gibsonized, she would have been in 4th place and still would have been in contention. So really, it's down to 4 people who could be our 2 finalists in the NWL division. As we know, Ori has now tied Joey in record, and he has a higher spread already before that game and won. So Ori will surpass Joey. If Michael wins, I think Michael will have locked up a spot for the finals, just because there are enough people behind him. Although actually, I'm not 100% on this. I need to figure out all the combinations in between.
I'm not great at analyzing standings and pairings, but I think if Ori will be at 18-9 as well with a pretty high spread. So couldn't it be that he and Joey would probably both still have a chance to make it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. So I think if he and Ori, so yeah, I mean, if Michael loses here, there will be 4 18-9s, and the 2 winner, and they'll all be paired with each other, and the 2 winners will be the 2 finalists. And so if Joey and Ori are not paired with each other, so Michael did win. Okay, so this is interesting. So Michael won, and Joey. So I think it's Joey and Ori and Michael, I think, will be the only 3 people who could win here. So I think Michael has locked up a finalist spot. I think
Wow.
because Joey and Ori will have to play each other for second place. I think. At least.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I guess that's how you do it. Yeah.
So
Unless, is there any chance Joe? No, there's no chance.
yeah, Joe
Um,
can't.
yeah.
The key is even if so. Let's say you pair Joe with Joey and Ori plays Michael. If Joe beats Joey and gets enough spread, Ori is still too far ahead of him on spread. Right, Ori's a game up and has so much more spread than him. So yeah, I think well, yeah, I guess you're saying if you allow Michael to play, or if you allow like Michael to be Gibsonized and Ori and Joey both lose and Joe wins, there might be some weird iteration, but I think Ori's just too far ahead on spread. That like Joe would need to win by 250 and Ori would need to lose by 250 for that to
Right.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's
Wow.
gonna do it in that sense. Michael is going to be one of our finalists, and I think we'll probably see Ori and Joey again next round. If my intuition matches what the pairings will be, if we flip to Collins quickly, that will be helpful.
So it looks like Austin Shin has finished his game. He beat Alex Seaholm and is now at 18-9. And Wasim Khatri is still playing, but he was at 19-7. And he's playing Josh Castellano. So I think Wasim has locked up a spot.
Yeah,
And might have, yeah, I think before the round he already had. But
yeah,
yeah, and I
yeah.
think Austin as well. With his spread, it'll be impossible for anyone to catch him. Oh, unless he loses to Josh.
Yeah, so it looks like Josh did beat Wasim, but I think that still locks up Wasim for the finals. If I, yeah, I think at least, just because if Josh, well, actually, yeah, Wasim has so much less spread. I didn't realize that he might have to stick around. Yeah, we'll see how the pairings shape up these positions. I know my brain's a bit fried to figure out all the mental math. I'm sure someone smarter than me can figure out who has already locked up a spot in the finals and who hasn't. In the meantime, we're going to take a short break before the last round of today. Please stay tuned. This is a really pivotal matchup that will decide who at least one of the finalists are. So stick around.